Harper Audio presents Girl in the Moonlight, a novel by Charles Dubow, performed by Adam Verner. To the memory of loved ones I miss every day. To the sirens first shalt thou come, who beguile all men whosoever comes to them. Whoso in ignorance draws near to them, and hears the siren's voice, he nevermore returns. Homer, The Odyssey. Prologue. The dirt road to the house had been paved and shortened. What was once in my childhood dense woods had been over the years sold to developers. Large modern houses now sprawled over the lots, until there was only a thin barrier of trees separating one from the next. I had camped out in these woods, built forts, startled deer. That was before the area became fashionable, and the land alone worth millions. Our house was one of the oldest on the pond, built when the area was a separate summer colony, and a round trip by horse or wagon to the village of East Hampton would consume a whole morning or afternoon. That was long before my parents bought, in the early 1960s, back when my father was just starting out. A weekend house was more than he could afford on his lawyer's salary, but they had fallen in love with it, with its charm, its seclusion, and its views, and economized in other ways to make the mortgage. For the first few years there was almost no furniture. The house would echo with emptiness. It was a giant playground for me. I could ride my tricycle from room to room without worrying about hitting anything. Fortunately, the previous owners had left behind a few things, including a butcher block dining table and bright yellow straight-backed chairs, so my parents could at least have the occasional dinner party. It was a beautiful old house. A traditional salt box built on a massive scale, its shingles brown with age. In the back was a wide, screened porch that faced west toward the sunset over the pond, the scene of many pleasant evenings. Old wicker furniture. My father, clutching a glassful of bourbon, at his mellowest. Now my father is dead, and the house is being sold. There were taxes. Also, it needed a new roof, central heating, a proper foundation. The costs would have been prohibitive. In the end, it was easier to sell. The buyer had promised he wouldn't tear it down. The house had architectural significance, after all. This would be my last chance to see it. I stopped the car by the brick path to the front door and stepped out. It was a cold November morning, and the drive out from Manhattan had taken only 2 hours. The grass was covered with damp leaves. No one was around to rake them up anymore. In the past, we would have been getting ready for another Thanksgiving here. Fully extended, the dining room table could seat 20, and most years it did. But that table was gone now, sold at auction, like so much of the other furniture. This was not the first house that had vanished from my life. There had been an old family place in Maine, my parents' apartment in New York that went after the divorce, my grandparents' horse farm in Virginia, now all gone. But this house had been the one constant. It had been my home. I had spent every summer of my life here. Thanksgivings, Christmases, had grown up within its walls, made the passage from boy to man. Had played touch football on the lawn, gotten drunk for the first time, made love, slammed doors in anger, slept uncountable nights. A large, empty
Sample complete. Ready to continue?